Hlookup is essentially the same as Vlookup, but is horizontally. Vlookup was vertical from column to column, so column from left to right. Hlookup is exactly the same thing, but on the other side, horizontally, and it's top to bottom. Like the first example, when we looked at Hlookup, we've been given an ID. So an ID we've been given is 869. You see, the ID is going across horizontally, right? So, in order to find the data associated with that ID, we have to Hlookup downwards, top to bottom, right? So it's the exact same formula, but on the other side, on the horizontal side. So let's do this. So it will be Hlookup and popped up. So let's go, Hlookup. The lookup value is now your ID. Well, guess where your table is the table array will start from. Your table array will start from the ID row all the way down. So that's what we're gonna do. Our table array will be from that ID row. We're gonna just expand it all, make sure we cover the entire range of what we're looking for. So it's meant to be comma. So now you can see my table array is 34 to 37 range. I'm gonna lock this down completely so that one moves. What I've done. Lock this down, comma. So now we're looking for, remember before we're looking for column index number, now we're looking for row index number. Row index number just meaning from the first point of your table, you have to count to where you want your return to come from. Now we want the first name, so we want it to come from the second row after my ID row, which is the second. So in terms of counting, it's number 2, and then you close it with 0. So that will be my first number count, my second, my third, and my fourth, if I'm counting from top to bottom. Now I want my last name, so I've got my, that was my last name. So I've got this all mixed up, so that's fine. My first name would be my fourth then, right? Before we're counting from top to bottom, that would be my fourth, number 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Then my last name would be number 2. So if I copy that formula down and change this to 2, that will give me my last name. And my email address now would be number 3, row 3. So see what we're doing there? We're counting from ID row, and then we're counting down for Hlookup. So from that ID row, the second row is last name, the third row is email address, and the fourth row is first name. So depending on what value you want returned, your row index change accordingly. So that's all there is about Hlookup. It's similar to Vlookup. Again, like I said with Vlookup, if you were not given the ID and you just were given the first name. Let's see how this will work. So let's say Stephen, you were given Stephen. So already you see we have a problem because there's nothing further down than Stephen. So similar to Hlookup, Vlookup, you can't look anything above the value you've been given, the item you're looking for. Anything above that, you can only look down from the value you've been given. So there's nothing down from my first name, as you can see in that table. So I can't really look up anything because Hlookup does not allow you to look upwards, only look downwards, as well as Vlookup doesn't allow you to look further left. It only allows you to look from left to right. Right. So what we will have to do, we have to move this data. So if I just insert more columns here, and then I'm going to move this, I'm going to grab all of this and then move them down. So now we have this in order now. We can then start looking at our Vlookup, so our Hlookup, excuse me. So Hlookup, we've got the lookup item we're looking for now is the first name. So we're going to lock this completely. I'm going to lock that down. And I want to look up, I want to get my table array. My table array would now start from where my first row is, which is 34, up to 37. I'm going to make sure it covers everything within that database, that data set. I'm going to make sure this is locked as well because you don't want to move. You don't want that to move as you move the formulas down. Comma. Last name will be number 3. So your row index number will be number 3. And then you close it, comma, with a 0 for exact match or false. I keep saying false or 0. Either one gives you exact match. Now let's find the email. Email is in the fourth row after your first table array. Right. So it will be number 4. If I change that to 4, that will give me my email address. Now, if I want to find the ID, I can still copy this. Notice that Sing's ID is still on the downside, on the right side of my table, and it's not above it. I can still find it, and it's the second. So I'll put number 2 there, and I'll still find that what that ID is. All there is about V and Hlookup. As I said, there are more tools out there that will get you the exact same result and allow you to be more flexible, like index match and Hlookup. So look out for those. But that was V and Hlookup. What we're going to be looking at next would be almost like an advanced Vlookup tricks. So thanks again for joining another session of Manni Mini Tips. This was V and Hlookup. Now let's track this out. Okay, so let me track this out. If there's anything you've not really understood from that session, do drop me an email or just comment on the video, and I'm happy to, explain to you further. So thanks for watching again. Thanks for tuning into Manni Mini Tips. This was Vlookup and Hlookup. Watch out for the next video, continuation of Vlookups, and it's going to be very, very exciting. Right. Thanks. This was Manni Mini Tip, and I'm out.